Welcome to Learn Up Centers. There's a live session with Steve Tattum. My name is Steve Hagler. I'm the Executive Director of Learn Up Centers. And Steve Tattum is the Director of Reading for Learn Up Centers, and he's the founder of Tattum Reading. We're also here with Andy, one of Steve's fifth grade students. Learn Up Centers is a reading center based in San Francisco. We were fairly local, and now we are geographically unbound and tutoring throughout the United States. One of the silver linings of the pandemic. We're on a mission to change how we teach all types of levels of learners to read. And we do that through a structured literacy program that's evidence-based. It's based in the science of reading. We're actually one of the few programs that has chapter books that correspond to phonemic aligned curriculum. And so when you learn to read with our program, you're also learning to read with books that have rich characters, themes, and plots that are part of the important parts of reading. The typical student in our program learns to read in about 3 to 4 months. We have a variety of programs in Learn Up Centers. We primarily teach kids to read using a one-on-one tutoring program. We also have comprehension. We have a sliding scale one-on-one mission where we would like to have every kid who we teach who can pay to read. We teach someone who has a financial need. We also have teaching programs for professional development. We're all put all of our learning and training professional development programs online at this point. We have a Teach to Read program. We have a kindergarten boot camp program, comprehension. We have a volunteer in the classroom program and webinars that include weekly office hours. I also wanted to let you know that we're about to come out with a new homeschool program that we're going to be launching in January. And so Steve has created a 10-hour program that's for parents in which Steve teaches the program and the parents follow along with their children. And we'll be putting an announcement to you and sending that out to you in the next few weeks. And Steve, I'm going to send it back to you and give you the share.
Okay. How many people have taken an Orton-Gillingham course? If you have, raise your hand. Okay, keep them up because I have to kind of wade through this. I'm at group 2. Anyone take Orton-Gillingham? Okay. All right, good. How many have taken the Tattum reading class? Okay, good. All right. How many is this your first go around in phonics? You're just trying to find out what's going on. Okay, good. So let me see on here. Raise your hand if it's your first go around in phonics. Okay, here. Okay. So yeah, just get a gestalt if it's your first time. Get a look. What you'll see is a lesson put together. And I'm putting Andy where he's at. He's about 3 months into the program, 3, 4. And so it'll get you a sense once you're in the program where you're at. He started reading one syllable words like fat and lat and chat, and he'd miss a couple words per sentence. We will be talking about the Shaywitz's work and how she found that kids who have dyslexia, the word form area behind the ear is not firing. And so you can do all the sight words in the world, but they won't stick. And that you have to do very specific things to get that working. You got to use Broca's area, which sounds out words. And then when they sound it out, it goes to above the ear, Wernicke's area that goes, I know that word. So you sound it out, I know that word, you sound it out. And when you do that a long time, it fires the word form area and you sound out a word, you'll remember it. Now, Andy's word form area is just starting to fire. So sometimes he'll remember a word that sounds out and sometimes he won't, okay? But it happens. When you see it happen, it's exciting. But that's part of what my main purpose is to stimulate Broca and Wernicke's. Broca's sounding out, Wernicke's is vocab. Work these two together enough so that we stimulate the word form area, also called the fusiform gyrus below the ear. That's our goal. So my lesson plan is not just teaching phonics, it's following the suggestions of Dr. Shaywitz on how to fire the word form area. Now, kids who are successful in first, second grade in any reading system, that's about 60% of our kids. Their word form area is firing. So no matter how you teach reading, when they read the word a couple times, they remember it. And that's why any method works with them. But for 40%, and sometimes in low socioeconomic systems, it's even up to 60%. If they're not taught systematic phonics, the word form area does not fire and they never learn to read, okay? So I'm all about stimulating this word form area by sounding out, working the sounding out process, Broca's and Wernicke's. Steve, are we ready? Number one, Steve is putting the lesson plan into the chat room. Is it there yet, Steve?
I'll put it in again.
Okay. So it'd be good for you to have that in front so you can follow. Now I'm adding a component, which I've added to our schedule for some students in the last several months. And it's advanced phonemic awareness from David Kilpatrick. So Steve is going to put in information on his book. Now I like his book. I've basically studied the research all the way from the 60s of Gene Chaw to Marilyn Jagger Adams in the 90s, to Diane McGinnis in the 90s and 2000s, to Shaywitz and you name it, and Kilpatrick. But Kilpatrick does a good job of summarizing the research. And he also advances a few concepts that were not understood. So one of them is for kids above second grade, you want to check their advanced phonemic awareness. And I have it for just a minute or so before the lesson. If a child has a trouble with that, we do it. So Andy, are you ready? Okay. The word's fact, Andy. Remove the f. What do you have? Good. You got fact. Remove the t.
Fact.
Okay. You got fact. Change the a to an I.
Fict.
All right. You got truck. Remove the t.
Truck.
Got truck. Remove the t.
Truck.
All right. You're saying truck. I want no t in front of it.
Ruck.
There, you got it. You got ruck. Change the to an ah.
Rock.
You got robot. Get rid of the r.
Obot.
You got robot. Change the o to a long a.
Raybot.
Change and raybot. Change the a to an I.
Raybot.
Good. Raybit. I'm sorry. You've got problem. Remove the b.
Oblong.
Good. You've got problem. Change the p to a d.
Doblum.
Okay. Problem. Change the p to a d. Problem.
Doblum.
Problem. Good. Nice work. Jackson. Remove the k.
Jason.
Jackson. Remove the k.
Jason.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Okay. All right, Andy, we're going to get in the lesson. You did well on that. I'm using the Wizimo board, which we can talk about later. All right, Andy, you see the board, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give you remote control. Okay, go ahead, click the board. Show me you have control. Good. All right, I'll say the sound, you point to it. Are you ready?
Yes.
G,
Good.
J. First row there. That's one J, and there's another J.
J.
Okay, and also in the top row, there's another J. There you go, J. Ul.
O.
Right after the JK. Okay, find K. Go to the ul.
O.
All right, I forgot to do this. Go to the second row. Okay, we're going to work in that row now. Are you ready? Rrr.
R.
That's one. What's the other? Rrr. All right, V.
V.
Ps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to the vowels. I,
I.
a,
A.
a,
A.
I,
I.
e,
E.
oi,
Oi.
and
Oi.
aw.
A.
Good. Ooh,
Ooh.
ow,
Ow. Ow.
uh. You were right.
Uh.
You have I want
Uh.
So notice the correction is you have, I want. It's a quick correction. All right, Andy, point to the suffix that means action. It's the red ones. There you go. What's that?
And.
The one that means past tense.
Ed.
And
And.
good. Point to the suffix that means most. What is that?
Est.
How about more? So most is like the biggest. More is
Er.
or bigger. How about the one that means full of
Full.
and like?
Lee.
That's as far as we got. All right. Now I'm going to take control. I'm going to click on the board, Andy. Let go of your marker. I'm going to point and you're going to say the sound. So we've now moved from spelling the sounds to reading the sounds. Are you ready? Go ahead.
G. J. O. B.
You said but. Is that what you see?
D.
Duh.
B. R. V. X. E.
You said it. Is that what you see? Now I want it as a consonant.
E.
Yeah, it's a yeah. Say
Yeah.
that with me. Yeah. Okay.
Ch. J. E. E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ch. Sh. E. Ng.
Okay. You don't hear the g there.
Mm.
Okay, next.
Mm.
Okay.
S.
Read that.
Ed.
And?
And
That didn't. Good.
full.
It's full of bully.
No.
No. Now, bullies are suffixes that make the vowels in front of them do what? Say their,
Their name.
yeah, they say their name. So that's not, is this a bully?
Yes.
What's this say? What's that say?
Est.
And this says?
Ing.
So vowel suffixes, remember, want to make the vowel in front of them say their name. All right, we're still in reading the sounds. I just taught Andy yesterday the soft C and G. Let's see if you remember it. Give me a k or a s. Oops. Go ahead. You said, pardon me?
S. S. S.
G or J? J is the soft one.
J. J. G. J.
Is that an E, I, or Y?
G.
Good. Okay.
G.
All right. Good job. What's this say?
Yeah.
All right. We're now moving to new concept. Andy, our next book is coming up next week, and it's going to have what's called the R family. So we're going to introduce the R family now. We're about halfway through French Quarter Phantom. which dealing with open, closed, silent E and what I call VCV words. Okay, so we're going to prepare you for the R family before you get there. Now the R family all says What do they all say? So what would this say?
R,
Give me the sound first. And Okay, they all say Now 2 of them are teenagers, Andy. Do teenagers always want to do what the parents do?
Okay.
And maybe in your case, but most teenagers, do they want to do what the parent wants them to do or the family?
Okay.
Some of them don't, okay? And what happens is parents sometimes give their teenagers a little slack. Well, these 2 want to make their own sound of R and OR, okay? I call them the teenagers. So since they want to say R and OR, the family lets them say that. So we're going to just give the R and OR sound right now. We'll deal with the later. So these 3 are going to keep their sound. So say these with me. Are you ready? Now the teenage sounds.
R,
And?
OR.
Okay.
R.
All right. Now I'm going to give you control. And I'm going to say the sound and you point to it. Now your best bet for Andy, is ER. That means your best bet for spelling is ER. There's more ERs than the others. So if you're not sure, try the ER, okay? And then the others are called the rest. They're not your best bets. Are you ready? Point to OR and say the sound.
OR.
You have control?
No.
Okay. You try it again. All right. Click on the board. Good. OR. All right. Your best bet for Your other 2 And then your R sound.
R.
Then OR. Okay. All right. All the OR and R. All right. Let go of your cursor. I'm going to click. I'm going to take control. What's this say?
OR.
You said Is that what you see?
R.
Okay.
R.
Okay. Now your next book is going to be called Time Tunnel. And it's going to have the new R family words. Now that we've learned it, we're going to prepare a few words ahead of time for that book to get prepared for the next book, which will be starting probably next Monday or Tuesday. All right, let's vol tag this word. What's the A going to tag?
The A is gonna tag the O.
Okay. Actually, it tags the consonant right after it. What would it tag?
Oh, the B.
All right, what's that say?
Abnormal.
Okay. Now you called that A. A says what? So what would that be?
Abnormal.
Do you know what that word means?
Yes.
What's it mean?
It means something to not be normal.
Yeah, something's not normal. What's the next word?
Short.
Okay, next word.
Bumped.
Okay, you said bunt. Is that what you see? Look here at that UR. What is that?
Burnt.
Good. I'm going to try the next one. First, I'm going to tag the L, and that'd be color. That's not the word. Or color. It actually is the word color. It's a little abnormal word, color. All right, what's this word?
Several.
All right, let's try this word down here. What's that?
A storm, a storm.
Oh, good. All right, good job. We're going to come back to that new concept tomorrow, but we're going to go ahead with our regular concepts of the lesson now. Okay, we're now at syllable work. Okay, so I'm going to give you control again. Okay. All right. Now you're going to be pulling words down here, and we're going to do the touch and say. All right, I want you to pull out the word flicks, the nonsense word flicks.
I don't have control and
Okay.
you're not showing it.
Try it again.
I don't have control and you're not showing it. Okay. There you
Click
go.
the board now.
And I don't see the words.
Okay. All right. We're going to come up here and you're going to pull out. Oh, I see. Flick. All right. So start, your first two letters will be in this top line. Can you see that?
You don't have the board, Steve.
Oh, you doesn't have the board. Okay.
There you go.
Now? Good.
Yep.
All right. Now click it, Andy. All right. Good. So let's pull out flicks.
Flicks. Oh. And
Good. Okay. Make it flex. Echo.
flex.
Say each sound a little louder so we can hear you. Starting with
O. X.
you're at up. Okay, now finish the word. One, drop that and finish the word.
O.
Good. Now, all right, good. What's the word?
O. X.
All right, you got flex. Make it flesh. Let me hear it.
Flesh.
All right, start at the beginning, each sound.
O. F.
Mhm.
O. F.
Bottom row there. There you go. Flesh. Good. All right, we're going to make it clesh.
Flesh. O. F. O. F.
All right, Andy. We're now going to change that to cletch. What do I want?
Clutch. O. H. Co. F.
You happy with that?
Hmm?
Are you happy with that?
Yes.
All right. Is at a hungry vowel?
No.
Is it a vowel by itself?
Yes.
What's it want when you got a vowel by itself?
The bigger piece.
Bigger piece, yeah. We could compare those to dessert, so it wants a bigger piece, which is the TCH. Right. All right. Let's forget that right now. Okay, don't worry about that. I know you had it. Now, because of time, I'm going to move to reading. So I'm going to click. I'm going to take control. Are you ready? Say this syllable, Andy.
Co. H.
No, just this right here. Pull.
What?
Let me get control. Okay. Now, I've confused you, so I'm going to start over. What does that say?
J.
Good. That's open. What's this say?
At. Jet.
What's this say?
J. Giant. Jet. Jar. Jar.
So this is a new syllable we introduced today. It's called our family. You know the open, closed, silent E. This is a new one called the our family. That would say jar. What would this say?
Jor.
Good. All right, let's go back to this. What's this say?
Jot.
This right here.
Jote. I
Okay.
mean, Joe.
Jote, is that what you see?
Joe.
Good.
Job.
Excellent. Oops.
Oh.
Good.
Joke.
Excellent. Okay, Andy, now, this is used in talking about fiction. It's a type of story, a part of a story. Now, when we run into something like this, we tag it first. So the I is going to tag the M, and what does that make this word if we tag that M? What is that?
M. X. Clim. X.
You ever heard of climax? Like the climax of the story? No. So let's change the tag and tag the I. Now what would it be?
Climax. Climax.
Do you ever hear of the climax of the story?
I've heard of that word.
Yeah. Climax is when the all the problems in the story are solved is the climax of the story often. Okay. Good job. Now you have your whiteboard there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Set it up on the chair. We could also do it here, but we're going to go ahead and do it on the whiteboard. We're now spelling real words. Okay. Are you ready, Andy?
Yes.
Batch. Let me hear it.
Batch.
And let me hear the sounds as you do it. B.
Ch.
Good. Nice. You use TCH. That's what. Do you have a black marker or something darker?
I have a purple marker.
Let's try purple. Good. So at is a hungry vowel. You gave the big piece. Good for you. Let's try the word fudge. Okay. Fudge.
J-
Good for you. Why did you use the DGE?
Because it's there's a U here and it's alone.
It's alone. It's a hungry vowel. All right. Let's spell the word. You line spell rotate. Draw your lines first.
What?
Rotate.
Rotate.
First. All right. And it sounds just like it is. Rotate.
O. A. Rotate.
Good for you. Rotate. You got an open syllable there and a silent E. Excellent. Let's try the word lantern. Go ahead and line spell.
Lantern. O. And. Burn.
Okay. Good job. Lantern. Okay, next word. Rebate. Okay, you can just write below. We can still see the board. Go ahead, rebate.
Rebate. Re. A. Rebate.
Good for you. All right, answer. Draw your lines, answer.
Answer.
Now, Andy, it looks like answer.
And
Swerve. So how did you spell that? I can't see that.
ANTSWEW.
Okay, so you have ants woo. Okay, what I want you to do is get rid of those lines. We're going to start over. Okay,
Okay.
all right. Now, draw your line for an. Say the syllable as I do it. An.
And
Next is sir.
sir.
So the first syllable looks like an. Go ahead and write that.
The
Now,
name.
okay, you don't need a double N there though. Oh, you spelled the woman's name, Ann. Okay. Now make it swer for your next syllable. Swer.
Oh, so
Okay. And how'd you spell that?
SWER.
Perfect. And swer. Good. And so that's a word that doesn't look like it's spelled. So when that happens, we're going to tell you what the word looks like. Okay. Good job. All right. Let's go to our reading. So far, we cleared up his sounds. He had a little trouble with the Y sound, but we cleared up the sounds both for hearing and reading. We then applied those sounds in our syllable work, and we reviewed the syllables. We taught the R family, and we reviewed open, close, silent E, which this book is addressing. And we're worked on breaking words down and changing, if the vowel isn't short, how to change the word to long. Okay? We are now in the French Quarter Phantom. Okay. Andy, can you give me a quick summary of what's happened in French Quarter Phantom?
Well, so Dr. Ralph, which is their kind of, I would say, boss, created a machine. I forgot what it does, but he made it to, I think it was to attract the phantom into it.
Okay, and what's the Phantom do?
The phantom walks around shocking people.
Shocking people, electric shocks, right?
Yes.
Does it just walk?
No, it floats.
It floats, okay. And so Dr. Ralph made a machine, and what happened?
And the phantom shocked him.
Okay, how about George and John, his assistants?
George and John were okay because Dr. Ralph made 2 suits that could fit, that could keep the shock from shocking them.
Okay, good. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and give you control. Go ahead, click it, and I want you to kind of swing under and break the words down as best you can, starting with the top word.
This one?
Yeah.
Controlling. Control.
Controlling, good. Next.
Jackson.
Good. Now the next one, I want you to tag it and I'll read it. Go ahead, tag the J.
Per.
Ek. Now that's one way to pronounce it. I want you to tag the O. What would it be? Project or?
Project.
Okay. It could be either one. We'll have to see how it's used in the story. Next one.
Mystery.
Good. Next word.
Problem.
What's the word?
Problem.
Problem. Okay. Now we're going to do the 4-step method. We're only going to read part of the chapter. So we're only going to be doing the first part of the words of each group. Now, I'm going to slide this under and say a word, and you got to tell me, read the word when I get under it. Are you ready? Project. Okay. Oh, I need control. Okay. Take your hands up. Project.
Project.
Let's try it again. Project.
Project.
Mystery.
Mystery.
Jackson.
Jackson.
Problem.
Problem.
Controlling.
Controlling.
All right. Tell me the word that means something that you're trying to solve that you're not sure the answer.
Mystery. Oops.
All right. That's all right. You can swing under. The one where you're basically taking over and doing everything. What are you doing?
Controlling.
Good. Something that shoots in the air.
Project. Project.
Something difficult, and I got to solve it. It's a what?
Problem.
Good. All right, let's go to the silent E and swing under and read these. We're going to alternate. You do the first word. I'll actually control this. What's the first word?
A table.
Okay. Now I want to just point out, when Andy sounds out silent E's, he's still seeing the letters one at a time. His word form area is not grouping it. So he'll see that as short until he runs into the E. So he'll start out like he did ta, and then he'll change it to tape. Okay. Oh, what's the word?
Poked.
Your turn.
Keep doing that on accident. Five.
My turn. Times. Next. Wire, yeah, wire. Next one, E makes the A long, careful. Okay, those are pretty simple words. Let's go to some open and closed syllables. I'll do the first one. Now, if I tag this, it would be events. If I change it, it will be events. Which is the word?
Events.
Okay, your turn. Tag it.
Robot.
Robot. Now change it.
Robot.
All right, my turn. Laser. That's not a word. I'm going to change it to laser. That's a word. Your turn. Equipment. Good for you. So notice if Andy approximates it, he'll often get the word. Described. What is that, Andy?
Described.
All right, with the phrases, we usually read them twice together and then I'll say them. But to get time, we're just going to read them once. With me, Andy. Just the weapon.
Just a weapon.
I am convinced.
I am convinced.
All of the police.
All the police.
I've got it. Had a glimpse.
Had a glimpse.
Statue of Jackson.
Statue of Jackson.
It is Halloween.
It is Halloween.
All right. The new weapon, a new weapon. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you control. I think you have control. Do you? Can you click it? Good. Go ahead.
Once Dr. Ralph was revived, he went back to the square to get his equipment.
Good.
He had all the events of the night on tape. He grabbed the tape and put it in his VCR. Dr. Ralph hoped to
Ralph, what?
Dr. Ralph hoped to see who was controlling this her phantom.
Good. What's a VCR?
I have no idea.
VCR is, you know what a DVD is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Back in the old days, they had a little tape that had reels in it, and it was a tape, and you basically stuck that into a player, and it would play a tape. It's like a VCR, or like a DVD, but much clumsier. That's kind of what I was born and raised on these. I'm gonna have to change that at some point. Okay, my turn. We're gonna echo. Hold on. Boys, look closely.
Boys, look closely.
The person controlling this robot
The person controlling this robot
would have to be close to it,
would have to be close to it, said
Dr. Ralph.
Dr. Ralph.
Your turn.
They watched the tape 5 times in hope of finding the controller. On the 6th time, John had a glimpse of something
Hold on. Now remember to use your marker here, but you read so well. It's okay. Now, what does a period mean?
Oh, to pause.
Yeah. See, John had a glimpse of something. Look. Well, you always want to pause for like the count of 2 with a period. This is a whole separate thought. Now, I'm going to read this like it being said, and then I want you to do that. Look there, Doc. There's a wire coming from that bush, said John. All right, your turn.
Look there, Doc. There is a wire coming from that bush, said John.
You keep going, Doc. You can go ahead.
The bush was inside the fence close to the
Right, stat what?
statue
Of
Jackson.
Now, Andy struggled there a couple times. When he struggles a couple times, I take over for at least a couple sentences to give him a break. We either do the echo drill like we just did or the fill-in drill. I'm going to do the fill-in drill where he's going to fill in words. Okay. Are you ready, Andy?
Yes.
That bush will be our
focus.
On the next night out, said Dr.
Ralph.
Dr. Ralph also wanted to
Find
out why the laser had no
effect
on the
robot.
When he reran that
event,
there he is. There's the VCR playing. It's a TV. VCR goes in this big thing. It's a giant thing, this VCR. Okay. Times he was convinced that the black
cape
in some way
projected.
You said projected. Is that what you see?
Protected.
Robot. Your turn.
Boys, I am convinced that the phantom will come tomorrow, said Dr. Ralph. It is Halloween and the phantom can mix with the g- uh, games
That's right, gangs.
games of kids. This this ed direct
That's it, duress.
dressed in costumes and school.
Go back here, what's that?
The square will be filled, so we will have to be careful.
Good job. We're gonna do beat the clock. Let me get my timer. Okay, we are a little tired. We worked earlier today and night, so we're gonna do a smaller. We normally do about 4 or 5 sentences. I'll tell you, we're just gonna go here to Phantom, the next day to Phantom, okay?
Okay.
All right, your first time, I'm guessing you'll take about 50 seconds. Let's see if you can beat that, but I think it's gonna take that, all right? All right, on your mark, hold on. Get set, go.
The next day, Dr. Ralph and the boys went to the police. All the police recognized Dr. Ralph. They were aware that he was trying to solve the mystery of the phantom.
That was 25 and I'm shocked, Andy. This normally would have been a 50-seconder for you. I'm shocked. Let's see if you can, that's at 25. Let's beat 20.
Okay.
All right, on your mark, get set, go.
The next day, Dr. Ralph and the boys went to the police. All the police recognized Dr. Ralph. They were aware that he was trying to solve the mystery of the phantom.
18 seconds.
Okay.
Let's beat 18. Let's try 16. On your mark, get set, go.
The next day, Dr. Ralph and the boys went to the police. All the police recognized Dr. Ralph. They were aware that he was trying to solve the mystery of the phantom.
18 again. Okay. One more time. 16 is our goal. On your mark. I'm not even going to use my cursor. You just go as fast as you can, but accurate. On your mark, get set, go.
The next day, Dr. Ralph and the boys went to the police. All the police recognized Dr. Ralph, and they were aware that he was trying to solve the mystery of the phantom.
13.7. 13 seconds. That's incredible, Andy. Okay. Now, after this, we go into writing. I don't have enough time when I tutor to write, and his teacher, Malia Lytle, who's here, does some writing with him and deals with the writing there. So I'm fortunate. But normally a student would give a quick couple sentence summary, and then we proof it using what's called COPS, C-O-P-S. C is for capitals, look for capitals. O is organization, where we make sure he's got a who or what did something. P is punctuation, and S is spelling. So we normally finish with that. Okay, let's give Andy a big hand for what he did. That was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, wasn't he great?
So good.
Right.
Such a good
Now,
job.
before Andy leaves, Andy, do you want to, will you be open for a couple questions before you leave?
What did you say?
Will you be open for a question or two before you go?
Yeah.
Okay. First, you did an amazing job, especially this late and after going to school all day. It was pretty amazing. Anybody have a question of Andy?
I have a question.
Leah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, what's been your favorite book so far, or your favorite character in the different Tattum series?
Well, my favorite character is definitely John and Ralph. John and John, George, and Dr. Ralph.
Awesome.
And your favorite book so far?
My favorite book so far might have to be this one.
Oh, French Quarter Phantom. You know, that's one of my favorite too. I actually wrote that while I was in New Orleans, where it's based, and I would take photos and send pictures, and my sister would draw it. I'd have to show you some of the photos when we're done here. Another question to Andy.
Can I just ask, how is this going for you, Andy? How does this practice feel compared to maybe what you did before?
Well, my mom says I am improving. Sometimes I can feel like I am, sometimes I don't.
Good. Yes, I agree, Andy. Sometimes you're right now. Andy right now is in a growth stage. Like that paragraph he read at the end without a mistake, never would have gotten close just 2 weeks ago. He's in a growth stage where if he gets close to the word, he nails it. His speed is picking up. His word attack's getting better. That happens every couple months. You'll be in a growth phase, and that's where you want to really push your reading. Okay. One more.
How many months has he been doing this? How?
We
Or how
started in September, and we would work. I only had initially 25 minutes a day. We do it for 3 weeks, then take a break. So we've probably been about 12 weeks at 25. I've lengthened it now to 35 minutes.
Are you doing it every day?
We do it daily for 3 weeks, and then we get a week break.
Okay.
So when he started, he was a low start 2, working on 1-syllable words, and much more labored than he's doing now with these multiple syllables. That was like 20 words a minute when we started, okay, at first grade.
It's doing great.
Anybody else have questions? About the lesson or anything?
Where did Andy start? I think
Andy was at a beginning start 2. We began with the fog, which is closed syllables.
Okay.
And he was reading 1.2 at 50 words a minute, I think.
Had he had any intervention before?
He had one that wasn't effective. So, you know, he was kind of where he was this year, where he was the year before. So we had to pick it up. I mean, it was slow go up to a month ago. It was slow go. Again, I'm not getting the full hour. I've got, initially I'd have about 20, 25 minutes. We have now lengthened that because he's, you know, I put him as a child with severe dyslexia. That's 1.5% of our population. A lot of kids with dyslexia are higher start 2s, 3s, and 4s, and they're less severe. So Andy's right there and just needs more involvement. But he's moving now. You can see he's just gaining more and more.
Hey, Steve, quick question. What book is, or what series is The Fog in?
The Fogs and Moonlight Tales. And I've written, well, you can see we have like, 14 or 16 series up there. I use Moonlight with kids like 4th, 5th grade and higher. It's my more, it's kind of like the Hardy Boys, where the same characters are involved and they deal with wild scenarios. And kids like it. They have fun with it. I have a kid who's really ADD, who doesn't have much use for anything, but he really enjoys the books. He'll ask me the craziest questions, like today, these raptors are shooting lasers at this house. And Dr. Ralph had developed these defense mechanisms, which reflect the laser back at them. And when they jump on the windows, they're glue and they get stuck. And he said, how come they have that advanced science, yet they're still using VCRs? Good question. I thought, and he said, you know, even if they get off the window, they're going to be still sticky. So aren't they going to stick to the ground? I said, well, they got to run quickly and hope they don't fall. But funny questions. Anyway.
So Steve, did you have to work a lot with Andy on the sounds of the consonants and the syllables in the
No.
very beginning?
I didn't have a lot of problem with the consonants and the vowels. That wasn't an issue. The issue is the blending. And when he falls apart, you actually could see it a couple times today where he went with like confused and called it like something that didn't make any sense. He'll occasionally fall back into that guessing, which I don't allow. But when he's on, you can see he's on, he can sound it out. But there's times he'll go back to like he used to be, where when his blending just didn't sound, he wasn't blending, just wasn't blending accurately. He'd lose the sequence. Now keep in mind, if a student is blending a big word like representative and they go their memory can't hold that while they're sounding out. So I become their memory. So when they go I go representative. I hold it while he's going because their short-term memory and working memory can't hold that while it's sounding out. Now that improves with time, but Andy's still at that point where I'll generally have to hold it for him. Okay. All right. Other questions?
You know when you did the line spelling?
Right.
So you start that when they start 2-syllable words, right? You have them clap it out and then each clap gets a line.
You start it when you're at the vowel tag and you'll give like velvet and they'll draw the lines velvet. Then you pronounce the word like it really sounds. Like see velvet, if you pronounce it velvet, they'll put a VIT. So you have to say velvet looks like velvet.
Okay.
That's the change. Okay, go ahead with your question.
No, so my question is, so that's how you do it. And that's when you do the spelling. And then when do you get rid of the line spelling?
It tells you in my lesson plan. I think it's at Walker's, Green Walker's.
Okay.
It'll say you now can stop the line spelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
I have a question. So today you started off with the ER, IR, UR. You said they all say
Right.
But I don't recall hearing that before. Is that new that you're going to tell everybody they do say
No. I actually do it this way pretty regularly, but here's what I do. They all say but two of them are teenagers. Remember that? And want to do their own sound. And the teenage sound is R and R, and we're going to let them do that for a while. We're going to forget about the Now the comes up about 3 concepts later where I have LAR words and T words, where you teach that after an L, AR says and that's how it's spelled, like collar or dollar. The best bet is AR. And after a T, talking about a profession, OR says and it's your best bet.
So so the best bet, like if something says R or, the best bet is AR or OR?
Absolutely right. Your best bet for is ER. Now that means the other ones you'll have to teach them I just teach them as they need it. If there's a UR word that you're going to use in their writing or IR, you can just teach it to them. Okay. But yeah, it's only later on. And with some severe kids, I don't even get into that. The LAR, TOR, that's confusing. So that's why I put it back. Okay. Good question, Rand.
But today I was using Shark. I was reading Shark Farm. And it had the word war in it, which is WAR, which is not a typical, it doesn't, fit the.
So what'd you do with it?
I just explained that some words don't fit the model.
Exactly what you do. That would often be the word I'd sound out. I'd go whoop or war. I'd say, yeah, this one doesn't play fair. Mm-hmm. About 85% of words play fair, 15% don't. So when one doesn't play fair, now what happens with kids is they get good at this, they're going to sound out the word and they're going to get it even if it doesn't play fair. Because they're getting enough of the word and sounding out to get the word. That happens as they get better at this. Andy did that a couple times today while reading. He sounded out words that didn't play fair and he got it. Yeah. That happens as they get better and better. What's happening? We don't do like a lot of programs where they have you guess according to context, letters, and syntax. So there's a lot of guessing. That's a bad habit. What we do is teach a kid accurate phonics, so the words that fit when you sound it out aren't this many. There's only a couple that fit when you're sounding it out correctly. So if you're doing the word property, proper, it could be properly, but the amount of words that contextually fit get narrower and narrower as you sound out better. So a really good reader is using word attack with a narrow use of context. Does that make sense? Versus a lot of programs just teach them to guess based on the first consonant, and that doesn't work. And when I got a kid like that, it takes a long time to break the habit. I just don't let them to do it. I just don't let them. But it still takes a long time. Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough that being in a general ed class, that fifth grade teachers had me doing some word study with the kids.
Yeah.
And I explained it to her as like, whereas in this balanced literacy, they teach them to use the cueing system first. We don't. Yeah. We teach them the phonics system first, and the cueing system is self-checking, self-correcting, and problem solving of the word.
Good. Okay. That's great. It's a disaster if that's the method they're taught. Now, once you're a good reader, that's not going to hurt you. But we just don't want it. Here's Marilyn Jagger Adams' research totally blew a hole in that philosophy, because she found that kids we teach, students that were good readers that we thought read past the word and used context to confirm, were actually parsing the word into syllables with their eyes. They put an eye machine on them, and they noticed that they were breaking words into syllables. So even your best readers who are really good, when they don't know a word, are breaking it down. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, all right, I just want to check one thing. I didn't get a message. Okay. All right. There's a good chance. I have a kid I've worked with for a while named Wolf, who has just finished my program. He's a start 5 now. He started as a 2, and he's at a 5. And I can show a lesson with him. I could show quickly his start 4 lesson, and then how now in 5, I'm moving to novels and technical books and how I'm integrating that. If that works, I'm going to try to do it next week. So Steve would advertise that. But he would be a start 4. And then what do you do when the kid leaves the program? That's what he would be. His name's Wolf. He's great. He can sound out anything. He's just not fast. All right, other questions?
I had a question. I'm new. I was wondering if you could explain briefly the difference between your method and other methods such as Orton-Gillingham and Slingerland.
Yeah, okay. I started with Slingerland in 1973. I was 10 years old. I was a gifted learner back then. So I started with Slingerland. I'm just kidding. Started with Slingerland, and then I went to alphabetic phonics, which is Orton. I did Project Read and Wilson and the traditional method. And Orton is very drill oriented and very sequential, uses flashcards, which I found bores kids to tears. That's why I moved to a movable board. They basically teach a consonant a day through what's called linkages. And there's 8 linkages that you got to do. And I was pretty fast at linkages. I could do that in less than 8 minutes, 7 minutes. But you're still doing a consonant a day. In my program, with most kids, I clean up all the consonants and all their vowels the first day, if they're in school, and found that pretty successful. Kindergarten kids, I clean up what I can. But I clean up all the consonants so they know them all and short vowel. And I put everyone in a book day 1, everyone, even my non-reader, because I have a book with 4 consonants and a vowel, and I put them in a book. So the big difference I've moved from cards to the magnetic board. Rather than stressing the drill, I do the syllable work, which reinforces the sounds. So when I say picks, make it pecs, he's going X. He's reviewing each sound in the syllable work rather than me beating it in with cards. And the syllable work ties into what we know you must do in order to be an accurate reader, and it stimulates the word form area. So I've gotten rid of the cards. I do more active work with sounds, and I have books. I've written myself, I think 11 reading series. My sons have written another couple, but we have a variety. We have a book for everybody. And then I also have a set of books I haven't written for more diverse audiences that also are accessible. So we have books and I get everyone in a book. So it's a difference there. Some programs don't even read for months. You know, they just do the phonics. So now a really good Orton specialist does like I do and figures this out and cuts to the chase. And I found experienced Orton-Gillingham people can be amazing and come similar results as me, because I'm not the only guy who's questioned, you know, all authorities. You know, I also took Linda Mubel's lips and I learned things from the lips. That affected my syllable work. But so Orton-Gillingham is kind of the grandfather of all programs for phonics. And lips is the grandmother. And I merged kind of those thoughts together. Now, seeing stars, which Linda Mu does now, does not produce the same results as lips. I know that because whenever I get a lips kid, which would teach phonics, they would be at a start 4 in my program. That means they weren't at 1 syllables, they were at multi-syllables, and they knew most of their sounds. But when I get a seeing stars kid who's had a couple hundred hours, they're still at a start 2 in my program. So just practically, the lips program is what, if you have a child with dyslexia and you're going to do Linda Mood, it's the lips program you must get. See, the seeing stars infers that your word form area back here is firing, but kids with dyslexia, it's not. Okay. That's kind of too technical of an answer, but does that make sense, Sue?
It helps. My daughter's been doing Slingerland for about a year and a half, and I don't know if it's, and she's in a specialized school for dyslexia, and I don't know if it's just her or what, but I had a better feeling about your program.
Slingerland is one of the better ones. I learned a lot from Slingerland. Slingerland does start with a movable alphabet, does the spell and read sounds. It does syllable work. It's got incredible tests. I think it's one of the better ones out there. Still, we move at the speed of light compared to every other program. I mean, it will take people to get in 2 years to get what we get in 3 months.
Yeah, that's the sense I have.
Yeah, it's just quicker. You know.
And do you feel that your system is more accommodating of kids with focus issues and attention issues?
Yeah, but that breaks down a bit on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm naturally.
I have the severest attention deficit kid I have ever worked with in my life. He'll be reading and forget he's reading. And I'll go, what? And I actually have my cursor moving. And he'll forget he's reading, or we'll alternate sounding words. And I'm waiting and he'll go, what? I'll go, well, what's the next word? You know, it's amazing. Today he had a perfect day. It was unbelievable. It was perfect. He not sounded out every word. He knew what the syllables were. He vowel tagged, he vowel changed, he read. He's the guy who asked the VCR question. He was like, great, you know? So I'm savoring days like today. So it's kind of weird stuff. There's a point where he checks out mentally, and then there's days like today where he's really there. But yeah, the program works. Now with regular ADD kids with dyslexia, the way the program changes helps keep their attention. You move from sound to read to sound to read. So that helps with attention. Okay? But Zoom makes it more difficult, except when you got a kid like Andy. Andy is just, he's going to learn to read and he works hard. And nothing gets in his way. Yeah, nothing gets in his way.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Yeah, I want to share my experience with everyone.
Sure.
I have a daughter. She's in 4th grade now, and she used to go to Learn Up program 2 years ago when she was in 2nd grade. My daughter suffered from ADHD and dyslexia, and she did 60 sessions or maybe more, and it helps a lot.
Good.
She started she was in 2nd grade and her reading level was at beginning of kindergarten, and her writing was very messy and spelling like very poor. She couldn't even like write anything. And the programs helped a lot.
Great.
But I feel now with the distance learning, she's distance learning is not working for her.
It's tough because
Especially the ADHD. Yeah.
It's a neurological issue. Go ahead.
Yeah. She can't even like focus or pay attention to what the teacher is talking about. Yeah. Like, do you have any advice for us, please?
With the Zoom? Is she in like a class Zoom?
Yeah, she's in like public school and like regular classroom. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend she gets up and moves.
Okay.
Sometimes do it standing, sometimes just put it down if she's checking out and just do it, just get a little exercise going to get the blood going in her brain. Because this is not the way kids with dyslexia learn, is through this class like that, or ADD kids. They don't learn this.
She has the ADHD and the dyslexia, both of them. So
get her to move more, sometimes stand up, because there's nobody around her. They don't know what she's doing. So get her to move, exercise, and take a break. And she should do that at least every 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Do some movement.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I would like to just echo what's kind of already been said. I'm a parent and a reading teacher, a parent of a dyslexic student who's in Steve's program. And I think the quick pace is what makes it fabulous. I mean, mostly teachers argue that we shouldn't teach phonics because it's long and boring, but this is the way it's done through the Learn Up program. It's just so quick. They just go from one thing to the other thing to other thing. And my daughter's focus is just really, she can focus. And it's really great to see.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Valerie. Appreciate that. Other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I was writing down like the queuing system. I was taking note of how short your corrections were. And
oh yeah, you have I want.
Be good.
For oral work, you have I want. You set for visual. I covered the letter. You said, is that what you see? So I cover and uncover. For oral work, if they go spell batch and they go batch, I'll say you have batch. I want batch. For reading, I cover. You said, is that what you see? It's short and sweet. Yeah. That a lot of teachers said that's the best thing they learned with the program is these quick corrections. Yeah. All right. Other questions?
I just want to share something.
Sure.
This is the kid I was teaching. He is a repeated kindergarten, and he has I would say a very good, he's pretty smart, but like the focus and so it's very easy for him to form a word because that's his first language. And then, so he's pretty progressing pretty fast. But like, okay, I told him you're ready to read, but like, he doesn't want to read the material. So I decided, so I keep going on the material we're using in the school. And then I told him yesterday, today you are going to read a story. I think you're ready to read. And then when he started reading, and that's your material, the red sled.
Gotcha.
And he keeps going. He is slow reading the word, but like he stayed in one place because he cannot stay for 5 minutes. He's running around. And then when we started doing the book, it's kind of a little bit slow, but he was reading, forming, pronouncing the word.
Great.
So I think the material of the school is a little bit kind of boring, but I combined your approach and boom, the tutorial works.
Right. Yeah, mine is made, I wrote all the books with the phonics principle in mind, and it is a pain in the butt writing those because you got to go, that word won't fit, that word won't fit, but they are designed to lead a kid who needs the phonological to reading. Often the books in school are not designed that way. They have all the vowel teams of them built in, so the child has to guess. So they learn guessing.
Right.
That's why books like mine, and there are some more diverse books. Moondog is the one I recommend most because it starts at kindergarten and goes up to second grade. The Moondog series, and it's diverse. It's kind of a graphic novel, but there are books. But you just need, if you got a child that's the real deal that has dyslexia, they really must have those kind of books. Now, if you got a kid less severe, they can have a little more variation, but really it just makes sense if you're teaching phonics to have books to have them practice it, and that's what my books do. Like Andy right now has done open, close, silent E. He's done how to break words down the short way and then the long way, like latex to latex. And the book makes him apply that. Okay. So that's the important. The book is, kind of where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, I remember Andy. He was in the same school I was. I don't know if he's going still in the same school as it right now.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Super.
He really improves quite a lot.
He's coming along.
Yes.
My goal will be to get him, it's going to be tough, but if I can get him to Alien Attack, which is written around 5th this year, that will be quite a game. 5th grade, fluency at 75 words a minute. That would, right now, I haven't time, but he's probably this is around 3.5. He's probably reading around 40 to 50 words a minute, but I'd like to get him an Alien Attack, but he's going to have to go through 2 more jump growth periods for that to happen. Right now he's in a growth that's going to take him through the next book, and then he'll peak a bit. Okay. It kind of goes in jumps, growth. Okay. Other questions?
Steve, I have a quick question about blends. If I remember correctly, back in May, you said you almost like to teach it each sound as opposed to the whole blend.
Yeah, I don't teach blends. Blends, there's like 50 blends. And many times Orton will teach a blend at a certain time. Well, that's now taking the 44 basic sounds and doubling them. So you got like 90. And then some also teach word families. That adds another 110. So that's where people who say phonics doesn't work and say there's over 200 sounds, that's what they're talking about. What I found is if I do my tracking for blend, when they're at blends, and I go fit, make it flit, make it frit, make it crit, make it crat, make it crast. When I do the segmenting and blending and put the letters in, I'm teaching blends without teaching blends. It's really all a blend is another sound. And if you can segment, you don't have to teach the blends per se. So now you're back to just teaching the 44 sounds, which is what I do.
Yes, and I'm working with a lot of first graders who follow that, the blends every week. And I keep hearing you in my head, and even, some of the words, they would probably read better and sound out better if they were just sounding them out instead of focusing on the blends.
Right. Yeah, it's again, I did all the mistakes. I made every mistake you could possibly make in the program. And so after making the mistakes, I started cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting to cut to the, and I'm still doing it. Yeah, I found blends. Now you just, if you're doing the syllable work, fit, make it flit, you're working blends. I don't have to teach full. You're doing full. You'll realize, or when I say fat, make it flat, make it flast, I'm teaching blends. And I'm teaching a kid that it's no big deal. It's just another sound, okay? So I saved the effort of teaching another 50 sounds. That's a big deal.
It is. Yes,
big deal.
You are so right and so brilliant. I love it.
If brilliance means you spent about 20 years making mistakes before you get it, maybe I am. Okay. All right. Other questions? Going once.
I have a question. I attended that your 4-day session before, and would like to know when you're going to do the 30-hour.
Oh, the 30 hour can be done now. You'll take it. It's already online, and you would just contact Steve Hagler. You just email Steve Hagler you'd like to take it.
Okay. All right. I want to get to the point where you're at.
Now, are you working with students or are you working with your own kids?
Students.
Students. Okay.
Students,
yeah. So the workshop you took was meant for teacher assistants to help kids, and it gave them the basics they need to help any kid. This is like taking any kid from age 5 to 65. We had a head of the psych department fall and have brain injury, lost all her ability to read. We got her reading in about 4 months. It takes anybody. So you'll be able to get anybody to read. That's what it'll do. Guaranteed.
Okay. I just loved watching you put all that together. I don't think were we covering that the way you did?
No. That takes too long. What I showed you guys is if you had to do the phonics, just go ahead and go to the book and then go to the page in the phonics that has the sounds and read the phonic words in the book. It was a cookie cutter approach, but not nearly as effective as this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited that the other program's out. I'm definitely interested. Thank you so much. And
I talked to our new tutors and just said 3 things basically. Go as fast as you can, as slow as you must. Fast as you can. Now, if I err, I go too fast. It's all right. I can always slow down. Second, if you do the schedule, the child will learn to read. And third, spend half the time in books. Don't get caught up in phonics. And I mean that day one. If I get a non-reader, I get them reading that first day because I have a book with 4 consonants and 1 vowel. Okay, I'll show you. Well, that's going to take too much time.
Yeah, you suggested the Moondog series for my
Moondog for diverse kids does a similar thing. It's a little different order, but I like it. I've worked it with some kids. So you can work that, or you can work straight with mine. You work with autistic kids too, don't you, Cindy?
I do have some students with autism, but I work with moderate severe cognitive impairment.
That's right.
Cognitive impairments. So I'm interested in doing that program, the 30-hour, to do with my students. But I also have this child that I'm excited to try this with and begin this journey with. She's like 4 years old.
Okay. Great.
So I get practice at home as well as in school.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
If I have, because I'm doing virtual and face-to-face at school, although right now I just got quarantined for 14 days. So I'm doing everything virtually.
Right.
And I have probably 25 to 30 minutes with my kids. Right. So I am really trying to, I've tried to do the 30-minute lesson.
Right.
And a couple of questions that I have is I have some kids who are like their word form area is not firing, and we're starting to get there. Should I spend more time on sounds and step tracking with them in between? Because I'm trying to get them to read every day, but I feel like we're not getting the phonemic awareness piece is not picking up the way I would like it to. And I'm and online, it takes twice as long.
Believe me, I understand. So
what I have 30 minutes and I'm getting through, 15 to 20 minutes of a lesson. So kind of if that's kind of what I'm living with, and I want to make the best possible gains with them with like the life that I have right now with them. Particularly those that we really are that, we've been at CVC and they're in the 5th grade. We're doing consonant teams. Some of them we're doing blends. I'm going to actually start doing some of the Hegarty phonemic awareness for 5 to 7 minutes in the morning before I get them for reading too. But I wanted to know where I should put my most bang for the buck for these kids.
I don't know that I do 7 minutes with the phonemic awareness. What grade are they in?
5th.
5th? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they segment? So if you go ship, can they go ship?
When they can't get past consonant teams. I have one who's still struggling with doing that, and there's some ADD, but they can't segment with blends. So we're really trying to work on that too.
So think of the word flag. They can't go full ag, they go full ag. Is that what they do?
Yes, yes.
So you're doing the segmenting. Okay. So just do the segmenting a minute or two before the lesson. It's auditory, number one, so it wears attention deficit kids out. So do the segmenting, and once the segmenting starts coming together, do what I was doing with Andy, the advance, which is hard, what I had Andy do, right?
Yeah, they're like, woo, no, we're not getting there.
But we only do that. Andy does so well, I don't do that anymore. I was doing it, but we now spend more time. See, what that's about is trying to get the auditory that reading's built on, trying to get that shipped up so that when they read, they have access to a solid auditory. That's what it's trying to do.
Right.
Now, let me look at the schedule. I went looking for it. I'm going to share the screen. And here's the half-hour schedule. Can you see it?
Yes. And okay. I mapped out, like I've been trying to do my lesson plans by this, like day 1, day 2, day 3. We're having a real struggle, like getting through that. But
okay, gotcha. Now, here's what you do. You're reviewing most of the sounds, but if they're struggling getting it, you just do the high frequency problem sounds. Same now, reading goes quicker. Okay. The new concept, basically 1 a week. And if they're struggling, then just stop it after a bit and hold off and do it the next day. Like if you're doing it and they're lost, just stop. Okay. Now, this is where the problem is spelling syllables. This is what's time consuming, right? They can't take control of your screen. How are you doing the spelling of syllables?
Well, my face-to-face, I have a board. In my virtual environment, you can't see it now, but I have this giant TV screen that I hook up and I give them the Google slides. I'm actually able to resize them on here and go, okay, build this. And I can look, because like if I get 2 to 3 in a group, I can like have it on here and it highlights like it does on the Wizmo board. Okay. So I can actually see what they're doing. Wonderful. And then when I need to build it for reading, I share my screen through Zoom and I build it on mine.
You're right on the money. So when you go ship to SHAP, they make the change on their board and you can see it while they do it.
Yes. Perfect. I managed to figure that out. And that works really well with them. I find that some of them are starting to build that phonemic awareness of different sounds with the step tracking because I make them. They don't want to, they want to just, but they're starting to get it because I'm doing it with that. I'm wondering if I should do a little more of that with them. I think it's just because I have to move tiles.
Yeah, it's confusing. And I don't, you got to be careful if you get too much time be involved in their manipulating it. Now, you do move to concept tracking where you just say the word and change. And that happens usually right after VALTAG, concept 8. You start moving to concept tracking, okay?
Right, and I have a group moving there. This is my group that we're not past step tracking yet. I mean, because they don't have the blends to track out and they're not always isolating where I want it to be. So, okay,
all right, well, it sounds like you're on the money. Yeah, if their word form area is not firing, it doesn't make sense to do a lot of work with that. It makes sense to stimulate the word form area through the syllables, through the schedule. The schedule is meant to stimulate the word form area. Just try to stick to the schedule, okay? All right. Thank you. Other questions? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. So next week, I'll be working with somebody. It's either going to be an advanced person who I think you'll really enjoy the session. or a newbie. So whatever works, we'll do next week. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.